and international reach. Experience the difference with Luntha Television, where innovation meets experience. Our dedicated team, backed by cutting-edge technology, ensures seamless execution and unparalleled results. Luntha guarantees credibility and professionalism in all its endeavors and services. We offer, among this, production and broadcasting of jingles, music videos, narratives, documentaries, press services and programs, on location or outside, live broadcasting of mass and other church functions, government or indoor functions, and political rallies, creation and broadcasting of special programs, sponsored content, sports and entertainment, and advertising for small, medium, and large enterprises. All services are offered at competitive prices. Tune in daily to catch Luntha Television on Zuko on Channel 51, Starsat Channel 474, Star Times Channel 474, Topstar 474, Kliye 007, GoTV on Channel 807, Azam on Channel 386, and live streams on our YouTube and Facebook platforms. You can find us in Area 2 Lilongwe or can reach us on 0883 815 055. Come, let us help you grow your business.
Glad you could join us for 7:30 News Bulletin. My name is Ballet Kizombe. First, the headlines.
Polio the 14th renews his appeal for peace in Sudan and Ukraine. Malawi mourns media icon Banda as government hails his legacy. Scorchers make history, reach AFCON semi-finals and qualify for World Cup. And in other news, Zambia's hope for peaceful elections. Economic change is fought in years.
We have more stories coming up. Would you stay with us? Following the recitation of the Angelus prayer on Sunday, Polio the 14th expressed his concern over the ongoing situation in Sudan, referring in particular to the city of El Obeid. Polio the 14th expressed his spiritual closeness to all the people of the nation and renewed his appeal to those in authority to guarantee humanitarian corridors for the civilian population. We have a Vatican News report read by Charity Chilanga.
Polio called on the international community to support efforts aimed at bringing about an immediate ceasefire. He urged everyone to pray that the Lord will support and sustain everyone suffering, convert the hearts of those who saw violence, and grant the long-awaited peace. The United Nations is warning the global community that Albert is in danger of becoming Sudan's next humanitarian catastrophe. People report running out of food, water and medical supplies following months of siege as drones continue to strike and sexual violences become more common. Continuing his appeal, Polio drew attention to the many innocent lives lost and people wounded in Ukraine and Russia. He highlighted how tragic episodes are not only continuing but multiplying, leading to an increasing number of civilian casualties. The Pope expressed his closeness to the families of the victims, the wounded, and those who are suffering as a result of the ongoing conflict. In the midst of this ongoing conflict, he renewed his heartfelt appeal for international humanitarian law to be respected and for people on both sides to stop attacks that involve civilians as targets. Polio stressed that war only breeds more war and causes immense suffering, calling for an end to the spiral of violence and for space to be made for diplomacy and dialogue as a path towards peace. After greeting groups from around Italy, the Pope highlighted the presence of many youth groups in St. Peter's Square. He noted that they have chosen to devote some of their vacation days to activities that foster personal growth and friendship as a sign of hope. In particular, he recalled his meeting with young people at the Franciscan meeting in Assisi on August 6th. Polio encouraged the young people to look to the saints on the liturgical calendar these days as examples, including Saint Dominic, Saint Teresa Benedicta of the Cross, Saint Lawrence, and Saint Clare of Assisi, urging them to be inspired and enthused by these exemplary witnesses to the gospel.
Catholics 54 of the Archdiocese of Lilongwe have been urged to understand and follow the liturgical order of the Catholic Church to enable them to participate actively and meaningfully during Mass and other liturgical celebrations. The call was made by Father John Kaliwamba during a liturgical orientation held at Our Lady of Africa Maula Cathedral in Lilongwe. Emmanuel Georgia has filed this report.
Speaking in an interview with Luntha television, Father Kaliwamba said understanding the liturgical order is important as it enables the faithful to participate fully and appropriately in different aspects of the church worship.
The training was very, very important because it has acquainted the people, it has helped the people to know what is expected of them. It is after they have known that they can actively participate in the liturgy, and also not only actively participating, but also was knowing what they are supposed to do.
Chairperson of the liturgy committee at Maula Cathedral, Peter Chando, concurred with Father Kaliwamba, saying the cathedral organized the orientation because it accommodates Catholics from different cultural and national backgrounds.
Maula is a cathedral. As a cathedral, there are so many people from different places of different races. So with the coming of these other people, they come with their own cultures, practices, and what have you. So the aim of this actual orientation was to harmonize whatever we do in church so that we do the same thing as other churches.
Chairperson of Maula Cathedral, Dolly Kachira, has thanked the parish priest, Father Francis Lekaleka, for organizing the liturgical orientation, saying the initiative will help to promote discipline, order, and proper conduct among the faithful during liturgical celebration.
I believe this is going to bring discipline and also sanity in the church, because I think we're doing things unknowingly. Yes, being Christian, we are Christians, well-known Christians, but some of these things that we have learned today have actually enlightened our spiritual minds and the gaze.
Meanwhile, one of the faithful at Maula Cathedral, Rosina Jimbaza, described the orientation as an eye-opener, saying it has helped the choir members and other Christians understand their respective roles and how they can participate more actively during liturgical celebration. The orientation is expected to strengthen liturgical understanding among the faithful at Maula Cathedral and promote greater unity, active participation, and reverency during the celebration of the Holy Mass. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Georgia.
The Chief Secretary to the government, Justin Saidi, says Malawi has lost a highly important and dedicated media profession in Banda, who will be remembered for generations. Saidi made the remarks on Monday during the burial ceremony of Banda, who until his death served as Director General of the Malawi Broadcasting Corporation. The ceremony took place at Banda village and our senior chief contemporary in Blantyre. Bridget Monoka reports from Blantyre.
Saidi, who was the guest of honor, noted that President Arthur Peter Mutharika held Banda in very high regard and considered him like his own son due to his commitment and service to the nation. He added that Banda's leadership at the national broadcaster was marked by professionalism, dedication, and a strong desire to transform MBC into a trusted and credible source of information. Saidi further said Banda's death has deeply saddened many, including national leaders, and has come as a shock to the public as he had not been ill for a long time. Meanwhile, Banda's son described his father not only as a parent, but also as a true leader who was loved by many.
She married a broadcaster, but she fell in love with another man underneath. A joyous man, always wanted to joke. A loving man, gave to his community. And to me and my siblings, he was our proof. Our proof that you could be from humble beginnings to a national voice without losing yourself along the way. He didn't just tell us to build something of ourselves. He showed us every single day what it meant building. Something meant when you did it hard work, with integrity and honesty and God fear.
Until his passing, Banda served as Director General of Malawi Broadcasting Corporation. He previously worked as Presidential Press Secretary and also made his mark in private media, including at Capital FM as a presenter. He was widely known for his programs Times Exclusive and Hot Current. Mourners from various sectors, including government officials, media practitioners, and members of the public, gathered to pay their last respects, reflecting the profound impact Banda had on both the media fraternity and the nation at large. Reporting for Luntha Television in Blantyre, this is Bridget Mwanoka. Bridget Mwanoka for Luntha News in Blantyre.
Children who received polio vaccines during routine immunization or previous campaigns should still participate in the fourth round, stressing that repeated doses of the polio vaccine are safe and necessary to provide maximum protection. He has also called on community, religious and political leaders, as well as the media and civil society organizations, to support the campaign by encouraging parents to have their children vaccinated.
We have seen the statement which the Minister of Health and Sanitation has issued regarding the next polio vaccination campaign, that it will take place from 11th August to 14th August. To us, this is good news because we know that polio vaccine is given 4 times, like for children, as a routine vaccine, because it starts with polio 0, you go to polio 1, polio 2, and polio 3, making it 4. This time around, when the polio virus was detected or found in Malawi.
Meanwhile, Ministry of Health spokesperson Benedict Dombewe has emphasized the need for full participation saying the primary objective of the fourth round is to close any remaining immunity gaps and reach every eligible child, particularly those in hard-to-reach and underserved communities. In response to our questionnaire, Mbewe said vaccination teams have been deployed to communities, health facilities, and other strategic points, with special attention being given to children who could be missed due to mobility difficulty, terrain, or other access challenges. He said the ministry is working with community leaders, health surveillance assistants, volunteers, and partners to ensure that no eligible child is left behind in the campaign. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Judith Ogan.
Polio the 14th renews his appeal for peace in Sudan and Ukraine. Malawi mourns media icon Banda as government hails his legacy. Scorchers make history, reach AFCON semi-finals and qualify for World Cup. And in other news, Zambia's hope for peaceful elections, economic change is fought in years.
While employees are required to contribute a minimum of 5% of their salary, the law also mandates employers to contribute 10%, and this is where complex gaps are widest. He has said that pension savings are critical to ensure workers have income when they are no longer economically active, describing the act as normal requirement practiced worldwide. Lombe has, however, cautioned that for pension funds to be meaningful, they must be properly invested to preserve value over time. He said if money saved does not grow, it defeats the purpose of retirement planning.
Well, I think it's a normal regulation requirement because ideally that's what is supposed to happen. That when there is a law regarding the pensions, then everybody should follow that. Remember, these are funds that belong to workers. They, in essence, were saving in anticipation of retirement at some point when they grow up. They all have to access that.
According to the Reserve Bank of Malawi, employers who fail to comply face monetary penalties of up to 100 million for individuals, 150 million for companies, criminal persecution of up to 10 years imprisonment, closure of business, and freezing of assets. The bank says contribution must be limited not longer than 14 days after the end of the month, and later late payments will attract penalties interest at the Reserve Bank of Malawi, policy rate plus 10% per annum. For Luntha Television News in Lilongwe, this is Clara Kamzat.
We put everything into this.
Those that can do it and succeed,
how to fix it.
This city has been just a cookbook. It's part of
being hit here
with the latest global news and insightful documentary.
Transition.
Understanding of the
But if you ask them know me. I know they blow trees, only know me.
Announcement. Transition to cashless ticketing. Malawi Airlines would like to inform all valued customers that effective 1st May, all ticket purchases will be conducted exclusively through cashless transactions. As part of this transition, payment will be accepted via bank transfers and POS machines for various banks available at our offices. This measure is designed to streamline our processes, reduce transaction times, and ensure a safer, more secure way of completing bookings. Cashless ticketing will complement our existing online booking platforms, our website, and our mobile application while aligning with global aviation practices that embrace digital payment solutions. We encourage all customers to prepare for this change by making use of the available electronic payment facilities.
Still on the news, the Economic Freedom Movement EFM is calling on government to urgently implement economic reforms to address rising prices for exchanges, unemployment, high taxes, and poor living conditions for ordinary Malawians. EFM President Willie Chikopa made the remarks during a press briefing in Lilongwe, where he outlined the movement's concerns over the country's economic situation and proposed measures to address the challenges. We have more in this report filed by Gift Kalonga.
Chikopa said the country's economic difficulties are placing a growing burden on households and businesses, with many Malawians struggle to meet their basic needs. He said the situation requires government to move beyond short-term interventions and adopt practical measures that can restore economic stability and improve people's livelihoods. He called for greater support to productive sectors of the economy, particularly agriculture, while urging authorities to create an environment that enables businesses to grow and create employment opportunities. Chikopa also stressed the need for responsible management of public resources and policies that promote sustainable economic development.
Decided maybe to give an insight in the different problems that Malawians are facing in different socio-economic sectors like education, agriculture, health, environment, and the rest of those developmental sectors. There are so many problems that Malawians are facing. In the education sector, we are talking about the free primary and secondary school education, which is a good policy, yes, but there's still a lot of things that are supposed to be addressed.
However, Economic Freedom Movement said is open to dialogue with government and other stakeholders on practical solutions to the challenges facing Malawians. The movement also urged authorities to consider the movement's recommendations and work with stakeholders to develop policies that can improve people's livelihoods. Meanwhile, the Economic Freedom Movement has assured Malawians that the movement remains active and operational despite the loss of its former president, Joseph Pepeshi, saying it is now formally registered and committed to continuing its advocacy on issues affecting the country. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Gift Kalonga.
In sports, Malawi's national women's football team, the Scorchers, have made history after qualifying for the semi-finals of the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations in Morocco. Speaking during the post-match interview, Scorchers head coach Lavmo Fazili praised his players for their outstanding performance and described their achievements as historic for Malawi women's football. Pari Pupa has filed this report.
The Scorchers secured their place in the last four after coming from behind to defeat Ghana 2-1 in a thrilling quarterfinals encounter. Ghana took the lead early in the match, putting the Scorchers under pressure, but the Scorchers showed great character and determination to fight their way back into that game. Malawi's comeback was inspired by goals from Temwa Chawinga and Rose Kamzere, who fought the back of the net to complete a memorable turnaround and send the Scorchers into the semi-finals. Fazili said the team's success is a result of hard work, commitment, and proper preparations, which he believes have played a major role in Malawi's impressive campaign in Morocco.
We noticed that they are tired, so we kept on fighting, we kept on moving forward. We had plenty of scoring opportunity, but yes, God blessed us with a goal which Tema scored, and after that goal, I think is when momentum started, to the team going forward and playing a good ball. Good football. Everything was, good for us. So we scored again through Rose Kamzere.
Scorchers will now turn to the semi-finals as they face Algeria on Wednesday, 12 August 2026. Qualification for the semi-finals is particularly significant as it has also secured Malawi's a historic place ever at the FIFA's Women's World Cup, scheduled to take place in Brazil from June to July next year. For Luntha News, this is Patrick Pupa.
And in other news, Zambians are set to vote on Thursday in a closely watched presidential election that will test whether recent economic gains can overcome growing frustration over the high cost of living in one of Africa's most stable democracies. Incumbent President Hakainde Hichilema faces Brian Mundwele, a former ally of late President Edgar Lungu, who has emerged as a leading opposition candidate after receiving backing from a coalition of rival parties. We have an African News report read by Charite Chilanga.
Up to 8.7 million registered voters, a majority of them women, are expected to take part in the election. The vote will determine whether Hichilema's economic reforms have earned him another term, or whether the opposition can capitalize on widespread public discontent. Hichilema, leader of the United Party for National Development, won the presidency in 2021 on his sixth attempt. He inherited a country struggling with sovereign debt default following years of heavy borrowing under Lungu's administration. His election marked a rare peaceful transfer of power from one political party to another through the ballot box in Africa. Since taking office, his government has secured a landmark debt restructuring agreement and restored an international monetary fund program. The economy has also returned to growth, earning praise from international leaders and investors. However, many Zambians say the improvements have yet to translate into better living conditions, with the rising food prices, unemployment, and persistent poverty remaining major concerns. More than 70% of Zambia's population lives on less than $3 a day, according to World Bank data. The election is therefore expected to be closely contested as voters weigh the government's economic record against the everyday cost of living and the opposition's promise of change.
We now give you the weather update by Tapiwa Kutakumoto.
Good evening, and it's time for weather forecast. Cold to cold conditions were experienced over most areas last night and today in the morning hours, with a few stations reporting very cold conditions such as Kadere Forest in Lilongwe and Mazisi in Mzimba, which reported 8 degrees Celsius, followed by Nzuzu International Airport, which also experienced very cold conditions at 9 degrees Celsius. We are currently expecting cool to mild conditions over most areas tonight and tomorrow in the morning hours, while generally warm to hot conditions are expected tomorrow in the afternoon. This will be accompanied by windy conditions over most areas, hazy conditions as well as dust in some areas. This is all due to the influence of an outgoing high-pressure system, which is still pumping in fairly moist easterlies into the country, influencing all these conditions. This is also why tonight, generally clear skies are persisting over the southern part of the country, the central as well as the northern part, accompanied by cool to mild conditions. Similar conditions are also expected tomorrow in the morning hours, with sunny conditions accompanied by haze, windy as well as dusty conditions in some areas. Temperatures are also expected to remain mild over most areas in the south, such as Ngabu, Sanje, Mangoshi and Monkibe at 20 degrees Celsius, 18 over Blanta and Manza, while generally cold to cool conditions are expected to persist over the central and the northern part of the country. Looking into the afternoon hours, we should also expect sunny conditions to persist over most areas in the south, the central as well as the northern part of the country, accompanied by windy conditions, haze and dust in some areas. Temperatures are also expected to remain hot over most areas in the south, such as Ngabu and Isanje, which is being forecasted at 35 degrees Celsius, 32 over Mangoshi and Monkibe, or generally hot to warm conditions are also expected over the central and the northern part. Looking into Wednesday, we should expect mostly cloudy conditions over the southern part of the country, accompanied by windy conditions, isolated rain showers, as well as fog patches. This will start from the southern part of the country and then progressing towards the central and the northern part. I'm Tabua Kutakumotu. Be wise, be weather-wise.
That concludes our today's news bulletin. Before we leave you, another look at the headlines.
Polio the 14th renews his appeal for peace in Sudan and Ukraine. Malawi mourns media icon Banda as government hails his legacy. Coaches make history, reach AFCON semi-finals and qualify for World Cup. And in other news, Zambia's hope for peaceful elections. Economic change is fought in years.
I've been Fales Chizombe. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to tune in for the rest of our programs here on Luntha Television. Goodbye for now.